Cole Maddox had turned down every woman who ever tried to win his heart, but the day an Apache widow rode onto his ranch and asked, "Do you want a wife with 2 children?" his whole world shifted. Cole Maddox had lived most of his life beneath the wide sky of the high desert plains, a land where the horizon stretched so far it seemed to hold secrets just beyond the reach of memory. He was known throughout the county not only for the cattle brand he carried, the steady hand with which he broke wild horses, or the quiet loyalty he showed to every neighbor who needed help, but for one peculiar detail about his life. For 9 long years he had turned down every woman who had tried to court him, befriend him, or find a place at his side. Some called him stubborn, others whispered he was still grieving a woman he once loved. Many simply assumed that the ranch took all his time and left none for companionship. In truth, Cole himself wasn't entirely sure why he had brushed off every gentle invitation. Something inside him always felt unsettled, as if life was waiting for a moment that had not yet arrived. When the story begins, Cole was 34 years old, lean as a cedar sapling but strong as a bull, with sandy hair always falling into his eyes and hands roughened by a lifetime of work. He had taken over the Maddox ranch after his father died unexpectedly, and though he had managed well enough, he was tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixed, but the kind that settled into a man's soul when he spent too many years talking to cattle instead of people. He could go days without speaking to anyone except the hired hand who rode in once a week for supplies. And even that hired hand, Thomas Brandt, had told him more than once that living so alone wasn't natural. One evening, as the sun bled crimson across the sky, Cole sat on his porch with a tin cup of coffee in his hands, staring across the golden fields. There was a faint trail of dust rising from the old path that wound through the canyon. It caught his attention because no one ever came from that direction unless they were passing through territory that belonged to the Apache Nation. Travelers who knew the land respected those borders, outsiders who didn't sometimes learn the hard way. Cole narrowed his gaze. Whoever was coming wasn't riding fast, but steady, purposeful. The horse and rider drew near. Cole realized it wasn't just one rider. A woman sat on the paint horse with 2 small children riding double behind her. The woman held herself tall with a calm dignity that suggested she had faced hardship and overcome it. Her long dark hair was braided down her back, and her clothing was simple buckskin touched with beadwork that shone faintly in the dying light. The children clung to her waist. Cole stood as they approached, instinct urging him to be respectful. The woman stopped her horse a few feet from the porch and studied him as if searching for something in his eyes. She was not old, perhaps in her late 20s, but her gaze carried a weight that told him she had lived through storms that would have broken others. "Are you Cole Maddox?" she asked softly. Her voice was clear, steady, shaped by a language older than the fences that carved up the land. "I am," he replied. "How can I help you?" "My name is Yana," she said. "These are my children, Kaya and Little Hawk." She motioned gently to the 2 young ones clinging to her sides. "We need food and shelter for the night." Cole nodded immediately. Hospitality was a code he lived by. "You're welcome to stay here," he said. "I'll see to the horses and make supper." She dismounted easily, helping the children down. They were small, Kaya maybe 8, Little Hawk perhaps 5. Their faces were tired but unafraid. Cole led the horse to the barn while the trio waited near the porch. Inside the barn, he ran a hand over the horse's neck. It trembled slightly, as though the journey had been long and difficult. When he returned to the house, Ayana and the children stood exactly where he had left them, and he realized that they were waiting for permission to enter. "Come in," he said gently. "The door is open." Yana stepped inside with the grace of someone entering sacred ground. Cole cooked beans and cornbread, adding dried venison from the winter stores. The children ate silently but with gratitude. Yana ate slowly, watching over them more than focusing on her own plate. When everyone was fed, Cole carried blankets to the spare room and offered them space. "You can rest here tonight," he said. "The roof doesn't leak and the door locks if you want it to." He turned to leave, but Ayana spoke softly. "Thank you, Cole Maddox. You didn't ask why we are traveling alone." He paused. "You don't owe me an explanation unless you want to give one." Her eyes softened a fraction. "My husband was killed 3 weeks ago. There was a dispute between 2 bands and he died trying to stop the fight. My tribe has been in conflict and the council believes I should relocate until things settle. I chose to travel east with my children. I had hoped to reach the next settlement by tomorrow." "I'm sorry for your loss," Cole said quietly. She inclined her head slightly, as though acknowledging a truth she had carried for too long. "Thank you." He wished her a good night and stepped back into the main room. He lay awake for a long time, listening to the wind tapping gently against the windows. The presence of the 3 guests filled the house with something warm, something human he hadn't felt in years. In the morning, Cole saddled his horse to ride out for fresh water, but when he returned, he saw Ayana standing near the corral watching him. She waited until he tethered the horse before speaking. Cole Maddox, she said in a tone that suggested she had rehearsed the words long before dawn. I have a question. He glanced up curiously. Go ahead. She studied him with the same steady gaze she had the night before. Do you want a wife with 2 children? The words hit him like a thunderclap. Cole blinked once, twice, trying to make sense of what she had said. She stood there calmly, not embarrassed, not uncertain. She spoke as a woman who understood the world, who knew the risks and the needs of life on the frontier, and who had decided to offer something honest in return for safety. Yana, I don't understand, he said at last. You are a man alone, she said simply. I am a woman alone. My children need land, food, safety. A woman with children has few choices, especially without a tribe. But I am hardworking. I can cook, sew, grow a garden, help with the animals. I will raise the children with respect. And I have seen your home. It is clean, well kept. A man who keeps a home this way is a man who honors his responsibilities. She paused. You have the look of someone who has waited a long time for something. Perhaps we have both been waiting. Cole swallowed. For the first time in his life, he didn't know what to say. Women had approached him before, but always with flirtation or expectation. Never with such direct sincerity, never with such honest logic. And no one had ever spoken in a way that touched a quiet corner of his heart that he usually kept guarded. Yana, he said carefully, I don't want to take advantage of you. I don't want you to feel like you're trading yourself for safety. She shook her head. I offer myself because partnership is better than wandering alone. I do not give what I cannot choose freely. He hesitated, unsure, but something inside him shifted. The silence stretched between them until she finally spoke again, her tone gentle. I do not need an answer now, she said. Only consider what I ask. The day passed in a strange haze. Cole found himself watching Yana as she tended to the children, helping them wash up near the barrel, braiding Kaya's hair, showing little Hawk how to feed the chickens without scaring them. She moved with calm assurance, and the children obeyed her without needing scolding. Kaya even approached Cole shyly at one point to ask if she could help him with the pails. He agreed, and she carried one half full, spilling only a little, but proud enough that Cole felt something warm in his chest. By late afternoon, Cole had made a decision, one that surprised him as much as it would surprise the town gossip he had ignored for years. He found Ayana sitting on the porch, mending a tear in little Hawk's shirt while he slept curled against her knee. I've thought about what you asked, he said, standing before her. Ayana lifted her eyes to his, neither hopeful nor fearful, simply waiting. I don't know what kind of husband I'll be, he began. I've been on my own for so long I've forgotten what it's like to share a home. But if you want to stay, if you think this place can be a home for you and your children, then, yes, I'll take you as my wife. Ayana nodded once, not excited, not surprised, as if she had always known the answer. Then I will be your wife, she said softly. From that moment on, the ranch changed, and so did Cole. At first, the adjustment was awkward. Cole was used to making decisions alone, to quiet mornings, to hearing no footsteps but his own on the wooden floorboards. Ayana's presence filled the house, but never loudly. She brought warmth, routine, and gentle order. She rearranged nothing without asking, but found small ways to make life smoother. She cleaned the cupboards, replaced old flour sacks with new ones sewn by her hands, planted herbs near the porch, and taught the children how to sweep without raising dust. She worked easily beside him, never demanding praise. The children adjusted too. Kaya followed Cole everywhere, asking endless questions about cattle, fences, weather, and horses. Little Hawk was quieter, staying close to his mother at first, but gradually warming to Cole after noticing that the rancher never raised his voice. One morning, as Cole repaired a broken fence post, Ayana approached with a calm expression. Kaya wants to learn to ride on her own, she said. Will you teach her? Of course, he replied, and he did. Kaya proved eager, determined, and fearless. She fell twice but stood up with dust on her cheeks and fire in her eyes. Cole admired her spirit, and Ayana watched from a distance with a serene smile, trusting both girl and horse. The days settled into a new rhythm. Cole rose early, and sometimes he woke to the soft sounds of Ayana grinding corn or tending the fire. She often joined him outside, working as an equal, not as a burden or an ornament. The bond between them developed slowly, like the steady growth of roots beneath the soil. At night, after the children slept, they talked. At first, their conversations were simple: weather, chores, future plans, but gradually they spoke about deeper things: Ayana's childhood, her dreams for her children, the loss of her first husband. Cole shared his own past, the loneliness he had never confessed to anyone. The more they spoke, the more a quiet affection grew between them. Eventually, affection softened into tenderness, and tenderness deepened into love. Months passed, the ranch prospered more than ever before. Ayana's herb garden flourished, giving them medicine and flavor for meals. Kaya helped tend the animals, and little Hawk learned to carve small wooden toys with Cole's pocket knife. The ranch, once silent, now thrummed with life. But not all things stayed peaceful. One hot afternoon in midsummer, riders appeared on the ridge. Cole recognized one of them as a man from the nearby town, a rancher who often caused trouble. The man's name was Warren Hager, and he wasn't known for kindness. He rode down the hill with two others, their expressions hard. Cole stepped forward protectively as they halted near the corral. "Afternoon," Warren said with a smirk. "Heard you took in an Apache woman." Cole's jaw clenched. "My wife," he corrected firmly. Warren spit into the dirt. "Interesting choice. Some folks think it's dangerous mixing with tribes, others think it's just unbecoming." Cole's voice dropped lower. "What do you want?" "We saw signs of hunters near our land, figured they might be friends of hers." Warren jerked his chin toward Ayana, who stood just inside the doorway, her children behind her. Cole felt anger rising. "No one from her tribe has come here, and if they did, it'd be my business, not yours." Warren sneered, "Just giving friendly advice. You should be careful who you let on your land." Cole took a step forward, voice cold. "And you should be careful whose land you ride onto." The riders exchanged uneasy glances. Warren shrugged, tugging on his reins. "Suit yourself." When the riders left, Cole turned to Ayana. She met his eyes calmly, though he sensed tension beneath her steady expression. "They fear what they do not understand," she said quietly. "I don't fear you," Cole replied. "I know," she murmured. "That is why I chose you." Their lives continued, and with every passing season their family grew stronger. The children thrived. Kaya grew into a capable young woman who could outride many grown men. Little Hawk developed a gentle patience rare for children his age. Iana's grace steadied the home, and Cole's once silent heart now carried more love than he had ever expected to feel. Years passed, filled with harvests, stormy nights, laughter, arguments that faded into forgiveness, and moments of quiet joy. The ranch became known as one of the most welcoming in the region, a place where differences between people mattered less than kindness and hard work. Travelers spoke of the rancher who once turned away every woman but had found his match in an Apache widow with 2 children. And Cole, who once believed he was destined for loneliness, grew into a husband, a father, and a man who understood that love sometimes appears not with fireworks, not with flirtation, but with a simple, honest question spoken beneath a desert sky. "Do you want a wife with 2 children?" He had said yes, and it had changed his life forever.